You're in charge of creating the big screen photo show for a humongous event, a wedding, a memorial service, a graduation, or some other celebration. Oh my gosh! Don't worry, I'm Les from Power Up Training, and I'm here to make you look awesome. This is our advanced PowerPoint photo slideshow creation tutorial to help create a cinematic masterpiece of your photos for the big screen. See these examples here, and here, and here, and here for the types of presentations that you're going to be able to build. It's appropriate for any big time event. Power Up Training always provides professional training even if you're not an experienced PowerPoint user. This will help you create the most polished presentation you've ever seen. I need to warn you, this is intense with beautiful results. Not sure you'll want to spend 30 minutes learning these secret techniques, even though they're going to make you look like a genius? Then first, check out our 90-second trailer showcasing what this is going to be all about and what you're going to be building in class. And then come on back. Look up here. Worried that you're not ready for this deep dive training? Then do start with our intro class for beginners listed in the YouTube notes down below. Now, if you're ready for action, then let's power up to PowerPoint Advanced Photo Slideshow Creation. Every project needs a plan, and here's our high-level set of steps. Don't worry, as I'll provide a downloadable link to a PDF version at the end of this tutorial. We will need to load up our images into PowerPoint, and the simplest way is through the building of insert photo albums. Then the key is to create a unique, customized visual style that will be unlike any other YouTube tutorial or slideshow that you've ever seen. This is the classiest and most important step. Once our stage is created, we'll then go through and turn each page into a work of art. We'll add a cinematic look through motion and visually compelling transitions between slides. And as an optional bonus, we can add music and narration to create a live presentation or a pre-recorded work of art. So let's go to step 1. This is an advanced photo album creation tutorial, and our secret magic sauce is to build a unique stage for your photos. Creating a stylistic background will set the mood and make your slideshow truly special. To do this, we need to find just the right type of image and then enhance it to transform it into our stage. Inspiration for your image can come from a variety of sources, including your own photos or Microsoft's, or even one of my special free websites of unsplash.com. Once we explore our choices, we'll need to decide whether we want a dark or brighter stage. We'll want to decide, is it a distinct, identifiable image or a more abstract background? Let's get started with a blank presentation. With PowerPoint already up and running, I'm going to go to File and then click on Blank Presentation. From here, we need to get our photos inserted. I'm using the technique we learned in our first tutorial of Insert Photo Album and New Photo Album. And then, looking through my folder structure, I highly recommend that you put all of your target photos in one folder for easy importing. For this tutorial, I've already downloaded some example wedding photos, and so I'll highlight them all to import into our album. Hey Apple Mac user friends, this tool is not in your version, so you'll need to drag your photos in one by one, but everything else will work. And Windows users, if this screen is confusing, then do watch our first tutorial listed in the YouTube notes below. For our advanced project, I recommend that you change the settings to one photo plus add a frame, either simple frame white or simple frame black. This will add value in our future steps. Lastly, when you click Create, you need to be patient. For some quirky reason, no waiting hourglass shows up, and depending on how many images and your computer speed, it can take from a few moments to a minute or more. Be patient. the Windows PowerPoint album insert brought in our 37 photo slides plus created a default title slide, but with a dark black background, something we're about to fix. If I switch this to slide sorter view, we can see them all perfectly centered, one photo per slide. Now for the magic. See how this album has the basic, uninspiring black background? We want to transform this to our own unique background shown here. At a high level, we will build our muted but stylish background stage to bring our slideshow to life with spectacular results. In a few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the process of finding just the right background and then formatting several candidates, which will drop into our live presentation to audition and find just the right look for our special day. Don't worry, this roadmap will show up again and again as we move through step by step. So let's get going. Creating a theme to replace the dark black background. To do this, we need just the right artwork. And as I stated earlier, there are a variety of choices from your own image or Microsoft's cloud photos. I want to explore an excellent free resource from Unsplash.com. This website is a collection of freely created photos that you can use for free, and it has a great searchable tool command. I'm going to type in wedding, and bingo, a huge collection of photos to choose from, and this is where our sample photos came from. One great feature is for our background design is the ability to filter for only landscape-oriented images to fill our PowerPoint background screen. Once you find the image you desire, click the download arrow for it to be placed on your computer. And here's the special request. Unsplash.com wants you to give the artist appropriate credit. So if you're using this in a public environment, you should copy the credit and share them out. It may not be necessary for your private showing. Note that for all my tutorial images, you can see the file name that holds the credits for the artist. This training session is very wedding centric, but the technique will work for any slideshow event. Watch as I search for specific objects or events or moods. And from here, you can find almost anything to set your stage. My recommendation is to download a half dozen or so images of different types for you to try out for your eventual background. Several different types to work with, and you'll find out which works best for you. So let's get to work. To interact with my downloaded Unsplash.com photos, I'm going to create a new photo album to easily get them into a new PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to zip through the same steps with my downloaded images. Before we look more closely at the selected background candidates, let's get rid of the black background. I'm going to go to the Design ribbon menu and choose Format Background, ignore the design ideas for the moment, and change the solid fill to white. And the key step here is to apply to all to make it ripple through the existing presentation. To better see our candidates, I'm going to switch us to the slide sorter view, and you can see that we have 10 possible images to become our theme background. Let me get rid of the title slide by right-clicking on it and choosing Delete. Let's narrow down our choices. First off, I've got too many images with flowers, so let's eliminate the center-based rose image and the side-focused rose, and also the collection of flowers in the Windows ledge. I find the windows a bit distracting to me. The festive sparklers had seemed to have possibilities, but if I have a photo covering up the middle, then the picture loses its meaning. So, goodbye. I like that the two rings seem to set a mood, but will not my audience become confused if these rings don't match our wedding couple? So long. And that leaves us with our 5 finalists, which I'm going to reorder for our training purposes that we'll see in a few moments. To get these perspective background images ready for fixing, we need to make each picture fill the full PowerPoint slide, edge to edge. There are multiple ways to do this, including our detailed tutorial on image cropping and resizing. But if you're running the latest Office 365 or Office 2019, you can go to Design Ideas, and almost always the first choice will be to make the picture fill the slide. Click and done. I'm going to do this for each of our slides, selecting the slide, clicking the image, and then under Design Ideas, if it's not showing, we'll click on Design ribbon menu and Design Ideas and click the first image to fill up our individual slides. As we look at each possible candidate, try to visualize seeing a picture on top to decide if this might be the right background. Our first slide of pencil, stationery, and leaves is simple enough. It looks usable as is. So let's go look at the next one of the dark roses. This image sets a different mood, and while the dark reds make the lighter photo jump out, the detail rose may distract from our central images, so let's fix that. Softening the focus of the image. With the background rose picture selected, we will then click on the picture format and then correction, and there we can hover our mouse over the different sharpen, soften, individual previews to see it on our screen. I'm going to select the softest focus to get the image to fade more into the background and keep our pictures in focus. Our next photo candidate is much lighter with a colorful theme, but it still may be too much in our face bright. So our next tool of transparency to the rescue. Photo selected, picture format menu clicked, and then under transparency, we can make the image fade more into the background by hovering the mouse over the choices to see how much we want it to fade. Now we get to the fun part, artistic effects. To make an amazing background, you need to experiment with the artistic effects under picture format. With our image selected, hover your mouse over the 20 or so effects to see the image get transformed into a variety of special looks, including glass, marker, pencil gray, photocopy, and much more. Here, I'm going to choose line drawing, which keeps the flowers on the screen, but in an artistic, muted fashion. And for the last image, I'm going to do a combination of several techniques that we just covered. Under Artistic Effect, I'm going to choose Cutout, and then I'm going to go back in, and under Transparency, I'm going to set it to 65%. You get the idea that it's only your imagination that is the limiting factor. So we've completed stylizing our possible backdrops, and now we need to get them ready to import back into our photo album. Step 1, save the file with our possible backgrounds under a name. And then the next step, number 2, is to save it again. But this time we're going to do a save as a copy because we want to use the drop-down box to save as individual photo files to be used as the backgrounds. If you do a save as JPEG or PNG file, which is my preferred file type because it's a higher quality over JPEG, you can tell PowerPoint to save all the slides, and it will then go out and create a new subdirectory folder and place each slide in as a distinct and individual picture file. Take a look at my File Explorer. Under the automatically created folder called Possible Formatted Backgrounds, you see the 5 picture files called slide1.png through slide 5. So back to our original wedding photo album to audition the 5 possible background candidates. I will select one of the slides, it does not matter which one, and go to the Design menu and Format Background, and then click Picture or Texture Fill. Don't worry about the initial pattern fill. Instead, click on Insert and From a File. Let's navigate to our folder of background candidates and choose the first one. And there's our first possibility. But before we get attached to this look, let's go in and add in the other 4 choices. I'm going to zip along here to speed up the process. But wow, things are changing and they're changing fast. Now it becomes clear why we created multiple choices and looks. Like a wedding gown or a tuxedo, you need to try on several fashions to see what works best for you. Once I go into slideshow mode and we look full screen, we start to get a better idea of what works and what does not quite fit. Note how the different photo sizes or colors match or don't match. And then, oops, there's our super boring original black plain background. Of our newly created stage looks, you may have your own favorite, but I'm going to choose this one, and it's easy enough to apply to the whole show. Under the design and format background, with the slide you like selected, click Apply to All, and presto, the look is applied to the whole collection of slides. We spent a lot of time getting to this stage of our project, but I believe it is the most important part of building a spectacular show. While I recommend you stay consistent, you could change the background for a subset of slides, such as a collection of the couple before the engagement, or just for the title slide. Use your imagination of creating a subtle and not overwhelming background that is unique to your show. Now, on to the next stage of our project, and that is to fine-tune each slide to add some variety and emphasis to each of the individual photos. Here you go from slide to shift the image location and or to resize it. This part can be quick and simple. But before going too far, you can also provide some variety of look by changing the frame. When we created the album, we chose a simple black frame, but there's so many more to choose from. Select one image, then click Picture Format, and right below are a variety of choices. You can hover your mouse over the top of the individual frames to preview how it might look, and when you find one that you like, just click. There are so many to choose from, some with some subtle shadows, or even this one with a partial image reflection underneath. Another way to add variety and visual interest is to have 2 or 3 related photos on the same slide. Let me copy one picture from one slide to another slide, and I'm going to paste it in. Starting with PowerPoint 2019, Microsoft added in the Design Ideas tool, and it always wants to help. See how it pops up with the proposed design? If you don't see it, click on the Design ribbon menu and then look for Design Ideas. Now, just click and instantly transform the slide. Note that it does remove the background image, which usually is okay, but you can use our earlier technique to put the background picture back in place. If you don't have Design Ideas, or you want to use another tool, here's one that goes back to at least PowerPoint 2010. Picture Layout SmartArt. Let me copy 2 images to a page so that we have 3 pictures to artistically design. With all 3 photos on the page, I'm going to drag my mouse over to lasso select all 3 images, and then I'm going to go to Picture Format and Picture Layout. Here, I can hover my mouse over the various layouts to addition the look, and then select what I like. What is interesting about this approach is that some choices add in text labels. Of course, we here at Power Up Training have a full tutorial on SmartArt designs, but for simple adding of text, it's pretty obvious once clicked. On the left side, you can put in your text to match the image. Now, let's go work on our title slide. Highlight the text, and under the Home ribbon menu, you can choose a new color and then switch the font from the basic light typography to something more artistically appropriate. Just be careful. Try not to be too frilly, as your choice may become more difficult to read if someone is stuck on the back table in the room. If you're on a recent version of PowerPoint, you can also see what our friend the Design Ideas has to say about the title slide. it will most likely take over the full page, but you can select an interesting recommendation and then go back and add in your own background image by right-clicking on the image and choosing Change Picture. Note that some of the design ideas will throw in a cool animation of the title. Once I launch the show, watch the slideshow title slide entrance, plus some of the earlier slides that we had rearranged on the page. We're getting there. If you watched carefully, you may have noticed an issue of the jarring jump from slide to slide. The page changes are abrupt. This can and should be fixed. The fix is to use the tool called Slide Transitions. By default, each slide just abruptly replaces the previous slide, but the slide transition adds a cinematic flow between slide pages. Watch as I add the push transition to the fourth slide, and it does preview it on the screen. I'm going to leave all the other slides alone. I'm going to go back to our very first title slide and start the slideshow. There we see the title animation for the text, and when I do click and go to the second slide, abrupt, and then the smooth push transition. The push transition, while illustrative for training, is still too abrupt for a great slideshow. So here's a few other choices. The reveal transition is smooth, which we see in the preview. But to see it in action, let's do a key trick by clicking Apply to All to make this go across all the slides in our slide deck, and then we can check it out. I am starting us midstream in the slideshow, but watch how buttery the transition is coming onto the background and then going off the background. It looks dreamy. But do feel free to experiment with the many other styles of transitions to find out what works with your theme and your mood. Here is the gallery transition that does a more fancy animation moving slides on and off. If you want to take a look at my top 10 favorite transitions, then look for the YouTube tutorial listed above. With all that said, there is one more transition that is superior to the others, but it requires some extra work. I have just turned on the morph transition and applied it to all the slides. When I run the slideshow, it does not really look that special. But wait! At a high level, morph is examining the differences between two slides and will create motion to follow the object position from one slide to the next. You have to see this to understand the magic. Step 1, I'm going to duplicate a slide, and then on that first slide, I need to shrink the viewable area so that we can move the image off the canvas to the right. The slide, when shown, will appear to be empty because the image is off stage on the right. Now, when I launch the slideshow from this blank slide, we see just our background. And then when I click to advance the slide, it makes a grand motion entrance. Let's see how this was set up again. Here is the first empty looking slide with the picture on the far right, off stage. And here is the following slide with the same, and it must be the same picture, now moved to the middle of the slide. The morph transition will see these two identical objects, and as we move between slides, it will motion move them to the new location. Now, let's get even fancier with the morph transition. I'm going to copy this couple pictures to the third slide, but move it to the far left off stage so that we will now have an exit motion for this picture. And then I'm going to take the image from the third slide and position it in the preceding slide 2 off stage for an entrance. So the image exists on 3 slides. One hiding stage right, preparing for the entrance. The image will then be on the next slide to complete the on-stage motion, and then the next slide to the far left off stage to create the exit motion. Let's look at all 3 slides side by side. Let's focus on the wedding couple. On slide 1, they're off stage, and so the presentation will just show the empty flower background. Morph will then move the wedding couple into and onto slide 2 in a smooth motion, and then on slide 3 it will move the same image off to the left. Now look at slide 2. The wedding aisle is on the right, just waiting to make an entrance. Then on the next slide, when slide 3 does show up, the wedding couple will move off just as the wedding aisle picture smoothly moves on. Let's take a look at this. And here it is in action. Blank canvas with wedding couple image waiting on the right off stage. The entrance motion plus the wedding aisle chair picture now waiting off stage. And now the third one with the morph action, the exit and the entrance happening simultaneously. This is powerful. And to learn more, look for our dedicated morph tutorial listed above. And you're now done. Ready to go on stage. Unless you want to add music or narration. Let's do this. Let's go add a soundtrack. So go to the first slide, choose Insert from the ribbon menu, and use the drop-down audio box. From that menu, choose Audio on my PC. I don't cover it here, but you could use Record to put a narration from this same menu. Add a single music track, navigate to that folder, and choose the file to insert the music. On the selected slide, PowerPoint will drop in the media controls to start, pause, and stop the music track. But we want to play automatically, so let's change the start to automatically. Now, after launching the slideshow, the music will begin as we go through the opening title. But, oh no, the music stopped when we transitioned to the next slide. What's happening? We will investigate. Go back to the first title slide and click on the media control sound icon. We can use the playback menu and find that play across slides is turned off, which is why the music stopped as we move to slide number 2. There are multiple controls here, but the most recent version of PowerPoint gives you a one-click fix for all. By clicking on Play in Background, PowerPoint makes all the needed changes here, including loop when stopped, meaning that if the slideshow is longer than the music file, then it will restart the music from the beginning, looping and looping and looping. So click the Play in Background to make it automatic. Here's a power-up pro tip. If you need to play multiple songs on the same presentation, it can become extremely complex and difficult to find the right slide to add in the next song. So here's my tip. Do a Google search for the term Joiner Audio Files Online to find a way to stitch multiple files into a single playable file. Let's see our presentation with the music, now continuing from slide to slide. There is something special about adding a soundtrack to a presentation that brings out emotion. If you plan this to be an automated slideshow, you could set the time between slides to be the exact same amount, or you can get creative and custom set each slide. Go to Slideshow and click Rehearse Timing, and it will launch the presentation. From here, each time that you click, PowerPoint's going to record how long you stayed on each slide. If you look at the top left-hand corner, you're going to see both the total running time and the time for the specific slide that you're viewing. And when you reach the last slide, PowerPoint's going to pop up and say, do you want to save the timing of the presentation? Just as I do here, where I pause and then I hit the X to close down the presentation recording. It's going to pop up, ask me the question, and when I say yes, we're going to see all of the timings on our slide. Let's jump over to the slide sorter view so that we can see underneath each slide, you will see a number of minutes and seconds that are devoted to that slide in the automated mode based off the timing that we just completed. So on to our last decisions. If you plan to use your laptop with PowerPoint already installed to make the presentation, you still need to test the projector to make sure that everything fits and you know how to run the audio and the video. If you need help, take a look at this tutorial on running more than one monitor. But if you plan to use a computer that PowerPoint is not installed on, or you just want to automate everything, Then turn your presentation into a movie file using the .mp4 MPEG-4 video file format. With the presentation open, go to File on the ribbon menu and click on Export and choose Create a Video. Here, you're going to have different quality formats to select from. The most likely choice should be Full HD, as most target projectors and big screen TVs are going to support 1080p formats. Going bigger will create a larger file that will be hard to move around, and your laptop may even struggle to play it smoothly. But if you know that you do have a higher end display system and you want to use a laptop that can handle such presentations, then go ahead with Ultra HD. But to be safe, I would still render a second lower Full HD file as a backup. Once you find the file folder and give it a name, you then go ahead and you tell PowerPoint to start to render the presentation. See the progress bar on the bottom. It may take some or a lot of time to complete, as it is rendering all the images and colors and transitions and motions and audio. So be patient and let it finish up. When it finally does complete, go ahead and navigate back to the folder where the original PowerPoint file is stored, and you should find your .mp4 file just ready to play. Here I'm launching the video file and our completed presentation kicks off. Do note that my video playing program does not default to full screen, so you should learn how to make that particular program fill up your screen so that your presentation can be seen in all its glory. There you go. All the tools you need to make PowerPoint shine for you. Yes, there were lots of steps, but as promised, I do have a cheat sheet that goes through all that we covered. Go to our website of power-up.training or see the link in the YouTube notes below. One of the bonuses of this PDF is that there are pointers to 9 additional training tutorials that you could go to if you want to go deeper on any particular topic. Each image in the links is going to give you a link to our free YouTube training. Got questions or tips or requests for more tutorials? Leave them in the YouTube comments below. Do like this and share it with others. And do subscribe to get more videos like this and our deep dive into photo retouching, which we glanced at in this tutorial. If you want to see all of our videos, visit us at our free PowerPoint school at power-up.training. Until next time, go power up.